Well, today is, of course, August 3rd. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter. As you know, I only have two reviews. The first one is from GCW's latest event that took place on the 29th of July, the People versus GCW, where we have two championship matches. And of course, we cannot forget, it's Wednesday, and we all know what that means. That means it's AEW Dynamite. So, as you know, we have a lot of things that are going to take place. As you know, Wheeler Yuta will take on Chris Jericho for an opportunity to take on Jon Moxley next week. But there's a lot of things that became very, very interesting along the way. But we're also going to talk about the recent press conference that took place with Stardom with two of their upcoming events. Of course, as you know, I mentioned not too long ago, we're going to have a fourth New Blood. They have already announced who's going to be in it, what matches is going to take place. I have to say this is rather interesting that I did not expect, but we got to talk about it, and that one's going to take place on the 26th of August. However, on the 21st, a week before that, we have another event taking place, Stardom plus Stardom 2022. They already had press conference for 5 championship matches. Includes the Future, the Artist, the Goddesses, Wonder, or should I say the White Belt and the Red Belt. So all contracts are signed. And of course, we got various news updates that we need to talk about in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, let's begin with GCW, the People versus GCW. This took place on the 29th of July. Now, this was around 2 days before the actual Ric Flair last match. It was in Nashville, Tennessee. We opened up with a championship match for the Extreme Championship in a 6-way scramble match. We have Ratty Daddy Cole Radrick versus Grim Reaper versus Shane Mercer versus Axon Ray versus Marco Stunt versus the current champion AJ Gray. Now, as you know, AJ Gray has been successful defending this title in every way possible. Now, there is the only people who I believe that are mostly a threat is coming from Mercer himself, because he's the strongest person ever. But what I did not anticipate was Cole Radrick picking up the win, becoming the brand new GCW Extreme Champion. I was like, wow. I have to say, he's going to be doing some great things. Next up, we got Tony Deppen, the A-hole, taking on Mike Bailey. Now, as you know, Tony Deppen would do whatever it takes to win the match by being aggressive, try to do things his way. As you know, he targeted Mike Bailey's knee as much as possible because, as you know, he uses those legs as lethal weapons, but he was able to put him in a knee strike in the back of the head to give him the win. So basically, the A-hole got away with it. Next up, we got Nick Wayne taking on the Sauce, Alex Zane. I thought this match was pretty good because, as you know, Alex Zane is an impressive wrestler, but Nick Wayne, he's a prodigy. That's what I like about this match. But I think many fans would have assumed from the very beginning, like myself, that Alex Zane was going to walk out. But no. Nick Wayne pulled a small package roll onto Alex Zane to pick up the win. Was a major upset right there, and I don't think Zane knew what happened until it was done. But he did show him the kind of respect that he deserves, and I think it was pretty a lot. Now our next match, we have Lucha Libre style match. We got the Commander, ASF, and Laredo Kid taking on Jack Cartwheel, Black Taurus, and Gringo Loco. Now keep in mind, Gringo Loco has been on a tear against every luchador in all of Mexico. As you know, he claims that he is the reason these wrestlers are here. He calls himself the base god in any way possible. He even tried to rip off the mask of his opponents, even though this is not, it's against the rules. But somehow Gringo Loco was able to pull off a huge win when he did a somewhat of a power bomb on to Commander, but it did give Jack Cartwheel the win, and they picked up a good victory. Our next match we have, of course, is Psycho Clown making his return, taking on the Bad Boy Joey Janela. Now this match was nuts. You know this is going to be hard hitting, balls to the wall type. Joey Janela, as you know, he would do anything to pick up the win. Not to mention he's the one who was bleeding out, but it did give Psycho Clown a huge win against Joey Janela, and I don't think Joey Janela anticipated that way. Now, before our next match, we had a surprise visit from Nick Gage, who comes out, felt that he was disrespected by Conrad Thompson. As you know, Conrad Thompson has been organizing the events of StarCast, and not to mention he's also been organizing all other events as well. But however, he did not invited GCW into the upcoming Flair last match, which I reviewed recently. It appears he was pissed. Conrad Thompson walked out. So basically, he had enough. What did he need to hear? Now, our next match we have is Jordan Oliver versus Bandito. I thought this was an amazing match because Jordan Oliver, he is one of the young pillars of GCW. Versus a guy who's been around the world, from not only here in the US, but Mexico, UK, Japan. And I think it tells us a lot. But what I did not anticipate a whole lot is how Jordan Oliver was able to apply not one, but two different cloud cutters onto Bandito. One outside the ring, one inside the ring. And I thought it was amazing. And he picked up an amazing victory against one of the best high flyers we ever watched. And I'm a fan of Bandito, don't get me wrong. Now our next match is a three-way for the GCW tag team titles. We have, of course, the Second Gear Crew, Matthew Justice, and the Southern Psycho, Mance Warner, taking on Los Macizos, Cyclops, and Miedo Extremo, the previous champions before. And now we cannot forget Bussy. As you know, Bussy is one of the most interesting teams. Now, they were the ones that many fans were hoping that they're going to win, but no. Los Macizos dig in deep as they ever been, were able to pick up a good win against Bussy, but they were not the ones that got pinned. So it was Los Macizos that walked out as the champions again. So basically, they're taking those with them to Mexico. And this is not the first time it happened. It had happened before, but sooner or later we'll get those titles back. Our next match, we have Kevin Blackwood taking on Masha Slamovich. I thought this match was good, but one thing I did not anticipate was Masha putting Blackwood in a submission that forced him to tap out. I thought it was unbelievably awesome, and I think it was good. Now, our main event, GCW World Championship. We have Blake Christian versus Jon Moxley. Now, this was a very tough match, but Braveheart put everything on the line the way it is. But unfortunately, it did not do well until he ended up on the wrong side of the paradigm shift, aka Death Rider. But that's how it goes. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. What we got with GCW. I believe it's time for AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite opened up with Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal. Now, nobody from both sides, not Dud or Singh, showed up. The best friends were in the back. But the match was pretty good. However, Jay Lethal was a bit more methodical in every aspect to ensure to take down Orange Cassidy by any means necessary. Now, keep in mind, Jay Lethal does believe that guys like Orange Cassidy should not be around here, but Cassidy almost could have won the match, but his knee was given out, but it did give for Lethal to do the lethal injection to pick up the win. But as soon as that would have happened, it turned out that they have a message for Wardlow, knowing that they did not like that he was involved in their business. Now Wardlow has gained a newfound of respect with Cassidy when he lost the match. That's the whole reason. But however, Wardlow did show up and he said that he's willing to put his title on the line. It doesn't matter when or where, how, as long as it happens. So we will see that match take place this coming Saturday on Battle for the Belts. Jay Lethal will get his shot of the TNT title, so we'll see what happens. Now, we saw the return of the Undisputed Elite with Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. Now, it's no coincidence that these guys showed up at the moment we have learned that there's going to be a trios championship. This is something where now we're seeing that, okay, we're going to determine who is the top dog, or should I say the top group, trios group, that win those belts. And this is something I spoke on my podcast, where that's always been the case. So Adam Cole betrays the Young Bucks, but luckily they had backup without them noticing. It was none other than their former friend and member of the Elite, Hangman Adam Page. This was very surprising me, but we could possibly see the reunited of the Elite, or as we call them, the Hung Bucks. Now, we did receive a video package coming from Jon Moxley. He said he doesn't care who wins between Wheeler Yuta and Jon Moxley. Even Regal says, it doesn't matter. You have to fight through. It is true. Moxley doesn't care who wins, long as he gets to fight. Now, we do see a little interview that took place earlier with Christian Cage. As you know, things have been coming personal between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy for a while. Jungle Boy, who was not scheduled to be there, showed up, and he was escorted out, trying to get his hands on Christian Cage. Now, our next match we have, of course, is Jamie Hayter along with Britt Baker, with tagging along with them is Rebel. We have Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa, known as Thunderstorm, just ready for the match. Now, the reason is this: Britt Baker cannot stand the center of attention, how things she felt that everybody had their fun. It's time for her to take back what rightfully was his. But the match went into a very methodical way for Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter to pick up a good win. But the obvious question does remain: will Britt Baker get another opportunity of the AEW Women's title? Well, we don't know. We'll just gotta wait and see. Now, Eddie Kingston, as you know, he has a problem with Sammy because he keeps interfering in his match with Jericho. So he sets up a contract with them because he's getting married soon, saying that, he wants this match between them taking place in All Out, I believe. So we'll see what happens when that day comes. Now, speaking of this, as you know what we saw last week, Team Taz has now become in turmoil due to the fact that Hobbs betrayed Starks. Now, it's still unclear. Now, Taz doesn't know why. Why did he do it? He even tried to get answers, but he can't give any answers. But he did say, as of today, Team Taz is officially dead. So it's over. Everyone goes their own way. We know where Hook is. He'll be fine. He's making headways as the FTW champion. Now, speaking of Team Taz, we have Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Ren Jones. Now, this was a very easy match for Powerhouse Hobbs, but of course Ricky Stark shows up to get himself, but he got a bit overzealous and got spine bust by Hobbs. So the obvious question does remain: what was the motive? Why would Hobbs turn his back on Starks? They were tight as brothers, but we will probably never know. Now, Miro, as you know, he's on a warpath against the House of Black for everything that took place for him, but we'll see what else is going to take place. But as for Darby Allin, as you know, who was also at war with the House of Black, sent a direct message to Brody King because he was the one who said that he goes on that got him there, and instead he spit at his face. But no, we'll see what happens when it takes place at the coffin match. Now Christian Cage was once again reignited his feud with his old pal Matt Hardy. As you know, everything went sideways for Matt Hardy. He got into the kill switch, allowing him for the win, but Christian Cage wanted to finish him off. Luchasaurus comes out to serve as a distraction for Jungle Boy to sneak in. So basically, he could have had him, but it did not go exactly according to plan for Jungle Boy. Now we do get another interview with Daniel Garcia. As you know, he declares himself as the Dragon Slayer for defeating, but this time he felt that he needs to eliminate him now because his conquest as the best technical wrestler in the sports entertainment is not over. He felt that he needs to finish him off once and for all, but we will see what happens. Now, Ethan Page out of nowhere shows up, demanded that he wants to know why he wasn't on television, but Stokey Hathaway shows up, talked sense into him, but we probably figured out that he was planning to recruit him. As you know, recently he recruited Lee Moriarty. We don't know who else he's going to recruit. Now, as you know, the Jericho Appreciation Society claims that sooner or later their boss, Jericho, will obtain the AEW Interim World Championship, but Anna Jay is out of her damn mind. She choked out an innocent bystander who was just minding his own business, doing his job. But sooner or later, this is going to haunt Anna Jay, or should I say Ruby So, will get her hands on her. Our next match is a dumpster match. We have the Gun Club, or as we say, the Ass Boys, Colton and Austin Gunn taking on the Acclaim. This brings back memories. Remember that dumpster that Billy Gunn and Road Dogg were in against Cactus Jack and Terry Funk? I thought that kind of brought back some memories, but this one had nothing to do with that. I thought it was amazing, but but the Acclaim were able to put these jokers through a dumpster, and then once they won the match, they tossed them over the edge of the stage, and it was done. In our main event, we have Wheeler Yuta versus Chris Jericho. Now, Menard and Parker were there to back him up, but luckily they brought in Claudio Castagnoli, who backed Wheeler Yuta up, but Menard got caught in the cookie jar, so he was kicked out along with Parker, so even Claudio Castagnoli even sent him packing. But Jericho applied a low blow to Wheeler Yuta, but later he applied the walls of Jericho, forcing him to tap out, but he refused to let go. He wanted to punish him, and then Jon Moxley showed up with the save. But Jericho did say that he's going to stretch him because he is bringing back the Lionheart, the last survivor of the Stu Hart dungeon. So that's going to be interesting. So I think that's pretty much it with AEW. Let's talk about the press conference from Stardom. Okay, as you know, today Japanese is August 3rd in Japanese local time down there. We had a press conference from two different events from Stardom. The first one is New Blood 4, which was already been revealed it's going to happen. It will take place on the 26th of this month. As for the other one, we have Stardom plus Stardom 2022. That will take place on the 21st. Now, the reason it goes like that in that order because of the time dates, well, they presented New Blood 4. So let's start with that. For what matches were set? Excuse me. Our first match, we have Lady C versus Chiko Ishikawa from Got to Move versus Ruka in a three-way. Now, if you guys aren't familiarized with, as you know, Got to Move have made some appearances in Stardom. As you know, we have Mei Sugar who made an appearance. So was what's her name, Yuna Mizumori. But now Chi is in the mix. But what is funny is how Chi got along with Lady C. It's kind of weird that this happened, and I did not anticipate that. But it was great. But however, Ruka felt annoyed with this. I don't know, but it's gonna be fun. I have to say, it's gonna be fun between Chi and Lady C. So we'll see. Now, our next match we have is Tomoka Inaba from Just Tap Out taking on Ina from Queen's Quest. Now, keep in mind, uh, Inaba lost to Ina's older sister Hana for the future belt, but this is going to be interesting. As you know, Inaba has a martial arts background, so does Ina, who has a judo background. So, this is going to be one interesting matchup. Next up, we got Mai Sakurai teaming up with a wrestler from a promotion based out of Nagano, Japan, named Linda from a promotion called Senshu Girls Pro Wrestling. This is a promotion I never heard of, but I will do my best to find out more about them. And they take on the members of Saya Ida and Momokogo. Now, I can tell in this particular match that there's some unfinished business between Momokogo and Mai Sakurai. Now, keep in mind, Mai Sakurai did defeated Momokogo in the opening round of the 5-star Grand Prix. Mai Sakurai, I don't know. There was something in her eyes that were telling me this like pure evil in certain ways. But her tag partner Linda was not present. But I'm not sure how they'll be teaming up. This is going to be a different dynamic for her. So we'll see about that. Next up, well, we have Waka Tsukiyama, who just made her return. Uh, she announced her tag partner that she will be taking on Ram Kaicho and Odatai's Rina is none other than Momoka Hanazono. As you know, they teamed up in New Blood 2, which they lost to God's Eye. But as you know, Momoka has been teamed up with many people. But Waka was wearing sunglasses. She never took it off. I think she did that because she probably was worried that Rina might have threw ectoplasma in her face like the way Ram Kaicho did the last 2 times. But it was very interesting. I was happy to see Waka. If you guys heard or not, Waka had a new interview from the web Sportiva. I will find there is a place where it can be translated. I don't know when will that be done. I will set up a description one day when I announce it. But also seeing Waka back brings happiness because I love what she does. She's the ultimate underdog in the Cosmic Angels, and it was great to see her. But later there was a clip that showed it's not even exclusive on the YouTube, where I think someone from Got to Move recorded it. If you guys saw the Japanese Twitter page of Got to Move, Chiko Shikawa went to the backside, ran from the aisle to the backside where, of course, Waka was just minding her own business, and she saw Chiko Shikawa. If you guys remember, she made her appearances in Choco Pro, and I thought it was pretty amazing for her to say hi to old friends. I mean, she is always happy to say hi to old friends. Not to mention, she did this with colors, too. Now, moving on, we have God's Eye, Suri, and Mirai taking on Starlight Kid and Aruka Umasaki. Now, keep in mind, Aruka Umasaki and Kid are becoming inseparable. Now, this was a tag match that Starlight Kid had wanted. She wanted a tag with her, but the obvious question is, will we ever see Umasaki join the Odatai? I don't know. It seems like it's going in that direction, but we'll see what happens. Next up, we got Hanan taking on AOI. As you know, AOI did wanted a challenge for the future belt, but this time it's not being defended. So it was very unusual that happened, but I don't know why it took place. I can't wait to see that. Now our next and final match for this one will be Miyu Amasaki, who declares herself as the ace of the New Blood, taking on the Kawaii of the Cosmos, Tam Nakano. Now this is going to be one hell of a match. You know that Tam Nakano will put the best out of her matches. So it kind of tells us this is going to be an interesting. So I can't wait to see what's going to take place. Now, as for our next pay-per-view, the Stardom Plus times Stardom 2022 takes place on the 21st. All 5 matches are the championships. Our first one is the future of Stardom. We got the champion Hanan challenging Miyu Amasaki. As you know, Miyu Amasaki mentioned on a post comments that she wants to challenge for this title. So Hanan had no reason to deny her opportunity. So this is going to be great. She has so far defended this title very carefully, but we just gotta wait to see if her luck doesn't run out. Next match is the Artist of Stardom. We have Odatai, Saki Kashima, who was not present. We have Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe taking on Cosmic Angels. Saki, who also was not present. We have Unagi and Mina being there. Now, Starlight Kid, as you know, called out Saki and reminded her of what happened in the 60th anniversary of Korakuen Hall. And basically, we are seeing that this is going to be an interesting matchup. So the obvious, will Odatai retain these titles or lose them? Because as you know, there's a revolution within Cosmic Angels. It's gonna be taking place soon. Now, speaking of the Cosmic Angels, we have the Goddesses of Stardom, the tag titles. We have FWC, Koguma, and Azuki taking on Tamboy, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano. I thought this match is going to be amazing. Now, I don't know what they call themselves now, but I just call them Tamboy, just to be honest. So I'm excited for this match completely. Then we have the Wonder of Stardom, aka the White Belt. We have Saya Kamitani taking on Kairi. I'm excited for this because this is the first time in years Kairi gets a title shot. Now, however, her tag partner, Nana Takashi, will be challenging for the red belt, the World of Stardom, taking on Sudi. This is going to be one hell of a match. Not to mention the press conference, they even beat the hell out of each other. So I thought it was amazing. So we'll see what happens when we get to these 2 days later on in this month. But right now, let's move on to our last thing. It's going to be news updates. Okay, we got a lot of news updates. I feel this is going to be one hell of a thing that's been going on. But first things first, I want to say congratulations to Shawn Spears and his wife, Cass Lee, formerly known as Peyton Royce. They just announced on their social media that they're expecting their very first child. So, congratulations, guys. Now, as you know, we don't know what the gender is, but sooner or later we will find out. It's still unclear what Spears has been doing. As you know, we haven't seen him for quite some time in AEW. I don't know if he requested some time off, but we'll find out. Now, some very delicate news coming from Ice Ribbon. Yuna Manaze has announced that she lost her tag team title. So this is, I don't know how much trouble she is or how much it's going to cost for Ice Ribbon to get a new one. I don't know. So this is unclear how it happened, but not much of the details were revealed about the situation. So hopefully we'll get more, but right now let's just stick what we already know. Now, as you know, I did mention the personal lives of Spears and Peyton Royce. Well, Peyton Royce's pal, Tenille Dashwood, has announced that she's in a relationship with current WWE superstar Madcap Moss. So was a bit surprised that she actually is in a relationship now. Now I know this is a little difficult since both individuals are now, you know, how to say, in two different companies. So we'll see what happens then. Now, AEW has announced for expansion roles. As you know, certain people have been promoted for certain jobs, and they hire new people in certain jobs. Now, Sanjay Dutt has been promoted as Vice President of Production and Creative Coordination. QT Marshall has been promoted as Vice President of Show and Creative. Pat Buck, Vice President of Talent Development. Tony Schiavone, Senior Producer and Special Advisor to Talent. And then our newest person who got hired recently, you guys know her. I did not anticipate that. Madison Rain, who's now an official coach for the women's division in AEW. So I thought it was great. And as you know, what's the name? Christopher Daniels will continue as talent relations with the company. And I thought it's going to be interesting to hear from that. Now, continuing on, DDT has announced that Hiroshima and Tetsuya Endo had tested positive for COVID, so they'll be out of action until the 11th of August. But however, Jun Akiyama has a fever. He will be out until the 7th, so he will be coming back sooner than we think. Now, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling has announced recently on the Summer Sun Princess, Maxine Paley will make her debut. Well, apparently it's going to happen on the August 13th in Corkin Hall. She's going to be facing against Pam Adejuku. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. I don't know how Pam will actually overcome this, but got to see this. Now, for all you GCW fans out there, this was announced. Dragon Gate's Shun Skywalker will be making his debut in October. He has a very interesting setup. I'm excited. If you guys never seen Shun Skywalker, he's amazing. I enjoyed everything that he does. Now, as you know, for all you Lucha Libre fans out there, we have the CMLL 89 anniversary. Well, apparently 3 matches have been set for bets. Now, I'm not talking about money bets. We're talking about certain bets, if you guys are familiar. And let me explain. The type of bets we're referring to is either your hair's on the line or the mask. Now, here are the matches that will be taking place. We got Ultimo Guerrero along with taking on Averno. Their match will be a hair versus hair match. So loser will have no other choice but to. Yeah. Our next match we have Atlantis Jr. taking on Snuka Jr. Mass versus Mass. Now, I hope Atlantis Jr. does not lose because he's been in the business for almost a year or two, and his dad gave him his mask. Now, speaking of his dad will also be in a Mass versus Mass scenario against Juventud Guerrero's dad. We're talking about Fuerza Guerrera. It's going to be Mass versus Mask. Now, our final update, it's been announced that House of Glory's upcoming event on the 5th of August, we have Terminal 5. Pro Wrestling Noah's Naomichi Marufuji will be making his debut and will be facing against Eddie Kingston. Now, this is going to be one hell of a match. Kingston has challenged the best Japanese wrestlers that the world has to offer. This is something I cannot ignore. It's going to be good. So, I'm shocked with this. I'm just excited for this. I'm excited. But right now, I think that's pretty much it what we got. So let's call it a day. I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Sorry I only did 2 reviews. My day did not turn out the way I hoped for. But I will be, as you know, we got our next episode, which is Thursday. We have, hopefully we have MLW. I know we have NXT UK and Impact Wrestling. So we'll see what happens. But if none of that, I'll add something else better. We'll just see what happens then. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day.